I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. All right, let me just start by saying I am not a financial advisor. I am not some Wall Street guy. I am not rich. I am literally just a normal 27-year-old guy who went from being broke and clueless to actually kind of having my stuff together, and I want to share how I did it. If you are in your 20s right now and you feel like you are falling behind, or you have no idea what you are doing with money, or your life, just stick around because I promise you this is going to be worth your time. I want to break down the worst decisions you can make in your 20s. Not from some guru perspective, not from some guy who inherited a bunch of money or got lucky with crypto, just from a regular dude who made almost every single mistake in the book and somehow crawled his way out. Some of this stuff I learned the hard way, some of it I watched my friends go through, all of it is real. Let's start with number one, which I think is actually the most controversial thing I am going to say today. Staying in a situation that has a ceiling. What I mean by that is staying in a city that does not challenge you with a partner who does not push you to be better, and with a job that caps your income and your growth. If you are 22 and you are living in your hometown working a job that pays 45 grand a year and you are dating someone who is perfectly fine with that, then dude, you are setting yourself up for a life of quiet misery. I have seen this happen to so many guys. They settle down too early with the person they dated in high school, they get the safe job, they stay in the same town, and then they wonder why they feel trapped at 28. The hard truth is the people you surround yourself with and the environment you put yourself in will determine almost everything about your future. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. If your partner has no ambition, that is going to rub off on you. If your job has no growth potential, you are slowly killing your own future. I am not saying you need to move to New York or LA or whatever, but you need to be intentional about where you are, who you are with, and what you are doing for 40 plus hours a week. That is 80% of your life right there. If all three of those things suck, then yeah, you are going to hate your life, and you should. Number two, and I know some people are not going to like this one, but getting fat. Look, I am not a gym bro. I do not care about bench pressing 315 pounds. That literally means nothing to me. But if you are in your 20s and you are overweight, it is going to impact every single area of your life. Your confidence, your energy, your mental health, your dating life, your productivity, all of it. And here's the thing. Most people think getting in shape is this huge complicated thing. It is not. Start with walking. Seriously, just walk 2,000 steps a day. Then work up to 5,000, then 10,000. Add in 2 or 3 weightlifting sessions a week. Cut out the processed snacks and the soda. That is literally it. You do not need a fancy diet or a personal trainer or a gym membership that costs $200 a month. You just need to move your body and stop eating garbage. I promise you, when I started taking my health seriously, everything else in my life got better. My focus improved. My mood stabilized. I started making better decisions with money because I had the discipline to actually stick to a plan. It all connects. You cannot be rich and fat. I am sorry, but you just cannot. If you have the money to buy whatever food you want and you still choose to eat like crap, that is a discipline problem. And if you have no discipline with your health, you are going to have no discipline with your money either. Number three is something I wish someone had told me at 19, never learning how to sell. I do not care what career you are in. I do not care if you want to be an engineer, a doctor, a teacher, or a business owner. You need to know how to sell. Selling is just communication with intention. It is persuading someone to see things your way. You think you are not selling, but you are. When you negotiate your salary, you are selling. When you ask for a raise, you are selling. When you go on a date, you are selling yourself. When you try to convince your friends to go to a certain restaurant, you are selling. It is literally everywhere. And most people are terrible at it because they never practice. The best way to learn how to sell is not by reading 100 books. I have literally only read 2 sales books in my life. The best way is to get an entry-level sales job like appointment setting or cold calling. Do it for 6 months to a year. It is going to suck. You are going to get rejected 1,000 times. But you are going to learn how to handle rejection. You are going to learn how to communicate clearly. You are going to learn how to persuade people. And that skill is going to pay you dividends for the rest of your life. I got a remote sales job when I was 21, and it changed everything for me. It taught me how to talk to people, how to handle objections, and how to close deals. Those skills translated directly into every single thing I have done since then. Number 4 is going into debt for things that do not build wealth. I am not talking about a mortgage. I am not talking about a business loan. I am talking about consumer debt, car loans for cars you cannot afford, credit card debt for clothes and dinners and vacations, buy now, pay later stuff. That is the fastest way to keep yourself broke forever. When I was 20, I had a couple $1,000s in credit card debt. It does not sound like a lot, but when you are making minimum wage, it feels like a mountain. I remember looking at my statement and realizing I was paying like $60 a month in interest alone. That is $60 I could have been investing. That is $60 I could have been saving. But instead I was paying the bank for the privilege of having bought stuff I did not need. It is stupid. And the worst part is it becomes a habit. You start buying things on credit because it feels easy. You tell yourself you will pay it off next month, but next month comes and you do the same thing again. Before you know it, you have $500 a month going going out to 7 different payments, and you have nothing to show for it. I got out of debt by working extra hours selling stuff I did not need and living like a broke person for about 6 months. It sucked, but the feeling of being completely debt-free is worth more than any pair of shoes or any night out do it. Number 5 is never starting anything, whether it is a business or a side hustle or a passion project. You need something that is yours, something that you build that is not just your job. I know a lot of guys just want to work their 9 to 5, come home and chill. That is fine if that is what you actually want. But most people who say that are just scared to try something else. Your 20s are the only time in your life where you can fail for free. You have no real responsibilities yet, no mortgage, no kids, no massive bills. If you start a business and it fails, literally nothing happens. You learn a bunch of stuff and you move on. But if you wait until you are 35 with a family and a mortgage, it is way harder to take risks. So just start something. Start a YouTube channel, start a lawn mowing business, start selling stuff on eBay, start a coaching service. It does not matter what it is, just build something that is yours. The skills you learn from building something from scratch are invaluable. You learn how to market, you learn how to manage money, you learn how to deal with customers, you learn how to problem solve. All of these things will make you better at your day job too. Number 6, and this one is important, neglecting your mental state and emotional intelligence. Guys, especially, we are really bad at this. We bottle everything up, we pretend we are fine, and then we explode over something stupid. I have a temper, I have always had a temper, I get impatient, I get frustrated, and it took me a long time to realize that was hurting me more than it was helping me. Nobody wants to work with someone who cannot control their emotions. Nobody wants to be friends with someone who freaks out over little things. Nobody wants to date someone who is emotionally unstable. Learning to regulate your emotions is one of the most underrated skills you can develop. I do breath work, I do cold showers, I sometimes just sit in silence for 5 to 10 minutes and let my brain calm down. It sounds stupid, but it works. You need to learn how to respond instead of react, because reacting emotionally is almost always the wrong move. Number 7 is not building something that makes money without you. Whether it is a business that can run without you or an investment portfolio that grows on autopilot. You need assets, you need something that works while you sleep. For me, it is my investment portfolio. I have been investing consistently for years now. I started small, like $50 a week small, and over time it grew, and now my portfolio swings thousands of dollars in a single day. I did nothing for that money, I just saved it and invested it in the right things and let time do the work. That is the power of compound interest, but you have to start early. If you start at 25 and invest $500 a month in the S&P 500, you will have over $1 million by the time you are 65. That is not magic. That is just math. But if you wait until you are 35, you have to save twice as much to get the same result. So start now, even if it is $20 a week. Just start. Number 8 is waiting for the perfect time. So many people sit around waiting for the perfect moment to start. Perfect time to start a business. Perfect time to start investing. Perfect time to ask for a raise. Perfect time to go to the gym. Newsflash, the perfect time does not exist. It is never going to exist. There is always going to be a reason not to do something. You are too busy, you are too tired, you do not have enough money, you do not know enough yet. All of that is just fear dressed up as logic. The best time to start was 5 years ago. The second best time is right now. So stop waiting and start doing. Number 9 is going to college. With no plan, I see so many people go to college at 18 because they feel pressured. They take out 50 grand in student loans. They study something they do not even care about. And then they graduate with a degree that does not help them get a job and a mountain of debt. That is a disaster. If you are going to go to college, have a plan, know exactly what you want to study, know exactly what job you want to get after, and calculate whether the debt is worth it. If you want to be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, college makes sense. If you want to study something with no clear career path, think twice. And number 10, living above your means and burning your runway of cash. This is the one that kills people the most. You get a job, you start making money, and immediately you upgrade your lifestyle. You get a nicer car, you get a nicer apartment, you go out more, you buy nicer clothes, and before you know it, you are spending every single dollar you make. You have no savings, no investments, no safety net, and then something bad happens, you lose your job, you get sick, your car breaks down, and you are completely screwed because you have no runway. In your 20s, your goal should be to build a runway, a cash cushion that lets you survive for 6 to 12 months without income, and then start investing everything else. Live below your means, drive a cheap car, rent a cheap apartment, cook your own food, and invest the difference. I promise you the freedom you get from having money in the bank is way better than the temporary happiness of buying stuff you do not need. Alright, that is it. I know that was a long one, but I really wanted to cover this stuff properly because I know how easy it is to mess up in your 20s. I did it, a lot of my friends did it, but the good news is you can fix it. It is never too late to turn things around. Start with one thing. Just one, pay off a credit card, start walking every day. Learn one new skill, build one small habit, and then build on that. You do not have to change everything overnight. You just have to start. Peace.